This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your source for the latest Iowa ag news headlines right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, Mark Magnuson, and Andy Peterson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Riley.
Good day and welcome to Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Today is Wednesday, September 17th of 2025. A little bit of rain here in central Iowa, and we are so glad you can join us for today's show. In today's episode, I talk with Craig Abell of Syngenta about how this crop season has gone on their side of things, as well as the importance of having diverse hybrid selections. We'll also have a chat with Ethan Robson of agmarket.net for the closing market summary. But first off, here's my conversation with Craig Abell of Syngenta, talking about those ever-important seed decisions. And we've seen a lot of disease pressure this year in our crops, specifically on the corn side of things. We've seen rootworm, tar spot, southern rust across Iowa. A lot of late-season disease pressure really coming on. Craig, if you could tell us a bit of what you've seen for corn from producers this year and just that disease that's been coming in.
Okay, yeah, we started the season off, we kind of had ample moisture early on in the season. And, we had robust supply of inoculum. And as we went throughout the year, the growing season, our temperatures are so hot, so intense, it probably kept the disease in check a little bit. And then the same time, a timely fungicide application probably did the same thing. Well, now we've reached, we're getting to the R5, R6 growth stage. We're starting to see our fungicide protection taper off. If we didn't have fungicide to protect the crop, we're probably seeing an explosion of southern rust, which is not real common to our market here in Iowa. And then tar spot is something that we've looked at. We've seen it all year, and it's probably going to take some of the top end off in some spots as well if we didn't have a fungicide applied.
So when we look at this point in the season, seeing that disease pressure, obviously it's tricky to have some management practices to kind of take care of that this late in the season. What are some things that you're recommending to growers to maybe take a look at that or even just scout for those diseases?
Well, the best way to assess that today is, number one, from the combine cab and the yield monitor, and take a look at, number one, what diseases did you have? Because, if you look at tar spot or gray leaf or northern, those tend to overwinter in the soil residue, where southern rust is something that tends to move in with various storms. But looking at disease pressure, what types of diseases you had, and then looking at maybe starting the plans for 2026. So the first step to that is probably looking at hybrids that have a certain amount of tolerance or resistance to a particular disease. And then part two of that is a timely fungicide application. We have folks in south where southern rust is more of a common problem. They're on a two-pass fungicide program, so they might use a Tribapro in the vegetative stages and then come back with the Mirabis Neo at R1. And so that's a pretty extreme, but we may see that in the future where we may have to look at that sort of a situation. But most commonly in Iowa, an R1 application, Mirabis Neo or Tribapro is going to give you real good disease protection all the way really through the reproductive process or through grain fill.
So then when we're looking at next year with the products from Syngenta like Opello, what are some of the ways that farmers can take advantage of what Syngenta offers to manage those diseases better?
And then as we look at, we talked about diseases with Opello, it's an insecticide product. And so again, scouting from the combine cab this year, so look at, do you have lodge stalks, and maybe dig a few roots, see what your root system looks like. Do you have a node missing or two nodes missing? And then, put that into your plans as well. So Opello is a rootworm insecticide we plan to get registered actually, hopefully in the month of September. But it would be an in-furrow application, rootworm insecticide through the planter that you would use next year to protect the plant from corn rootworm. And it would be something that you could use it where you're using a double pro or a non-traded corn rootworm hybrid. Or at the same, we got a few pockets across Iowa where you might even supplement the traded hybrid with Opello for optimum yield, optimum root protection.
All right. So, Craig, if producers are not able to attend the Farm Progress Show and they would like to learn more from Syngenta, how can they do that?
Well, the easiest way is syngenta.com. And then the next easiest is talk to your local authorized reseller. And they have information on this, and then they can get the farmer in contact with the local Syngenta rep to have a discussion around rootworm protection with Apello or disease protection with TribaPro or Mirvis Neo.
That again was Craig Abell of Syngenta. We'll take a look at how the markets close next, but first, here's a word from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and we're here now with Ethan Robson of agmarket.net for the closing market analysis. Ethan checking in from the mobile office again out in the field. You just mentioned starting soybean harvest. First off, before we get into the markets, how's harvest going for you guys?
Yeah, harvest is going great. Getting the logistics all worked out. Yield's about the same as about average, I'd say. So, hearing some yield reports from other guys as well. Some great, some a little bit disappointed below last year's as well. So I think one thing with these yield reports coming in is the keyword is variable. Is the weather has been completely different this year. You got parts of the Midwest that were they're able to catch rain, some weren't, and it's definitely showing up. And so hearing mixed results about yield, and so that's trade's trying to decide, okay, what is this U.S. corn yield, U.S. soybean yield going to be? And it's hard to trade. You had the USDA report out Friday, dropped the corn yield to 186. Market was up 10 cents that day. And so the trade, $1 million question for the trade is, what is this yield going to turn out to be?
And as those reports come in from harvest so far, here in Iowa, we're still pretty early on that. Just a few combines out in the fields. As those reports come in, what are we expecting to see? I mean, we know that a lot of things might be lower than the USDA projections, but is that factored into the markets already?
I think it's definitely starting to be in the markets as well as the trade tries to figure it out. Yield reports have come in slightly lower. You look at the USDA printed a 188.8 in August. Corn was down 10 cents that day to 390s, low so far. You look at the USDA report, dropping it down to 186. Trade was up Friday as well. And so it makes you think that the trade's using a number slightly lower than USDA's 182 to 184 type like. Definitely makes you feel like it. So like I said earlier, though, yields have been kind of all over the place. And so it's hard for the trade to try to gather, okay, what is this U.S. corn yield? So expect some volatility along the way.
And then over on the livestock side of things, how did cattle and hogs trade today?
Yeah, cattle down as well. So cutoff scenes a little bit slip as well. And so cattle on feed report out Friday, seeing some position squaring there. These funds have massive profits in their long position for the cattle. And so trying to take some profit before the cattle on feed as well. And so live cattle and feeder cattle right now trading below the 20-day moving average, just slip below the 10-day. Need to see those to get caught back up before anything first.
All right, Ethan, lots of great information today. For anyone who would like to get in touch with agmarket.net and get more marketing information, how can they do that?
Yeah, visit us online, agmarket.net. Give us a call in Bloomington, 1-800-779-1515.
Thanks again for the analysis. As always, Ethan, we'll let you get back in the field, and we'll talk again soon.
Yep, thank you.
All right. That again was Ethan Robson of agmarket.net. We'll take a look at how the numbers close through the market window at iowaagnet.com. At the close, December corn down 2 3/4 at 426 3/4. November soybeans down 6 even at 1043 3/4. October soybean meal down $1.90 at 283.90. Soybean oil down $1.45 at 51.24. Chicago wheat down 5 3/4 at 528 1/4. Kansas City hard red winter wheat down 7 1/4 at 516 1/4. Minneapolis spring wheat down 2.5 at 574 even. December oats up 2 even at 321 even. On the Merc, October live cattle down 235 at 231.10. October feeder cattle down 517 at 349.12. October lean hogs down 5 cents at 97.32. October pork cutout up 80 cents at 103.90. And October Class 3 milk up 71 cents at 17.36. That's been a check of the markets here on Ag Matters PM, and that also brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. Also follow us on social media at Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and TikTok, and find our video content as well as previous episodes of AM PM on our YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to see when those videos go live. Don't forget as well our free morning, midday, and closing market podcasts, as well as the Iowa Ag Matters podcast and Pod's Potential. Find those on your favorite podcasting services at Apple, Amazon, Spotify, and Podbean. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Riley Smith. On behalf of Mark Magnuson, Andy Peterson, and Dustin Huffman, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.